What's going on, guys? It's your boy Greg back with the Super 6. Yeah, man, I know. It's been a minute. I've been trying to make this video forever. I've shot it 4, 5, or 6 times in the last couple of weeks and still hadn't gotten it quite right. But today, man, we're going to go ahead and get into it. I want to update you guys on the direction I'm finally going to take with the charger. And I also want to talk about some of those things to look out for. If you're running this boosted application, on your Charger, Challenger, or 300. Some of those things, man, you might want to watch out for that I experienced that might be some warning signs for you to look out for. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. All right, man. So actually the Charger has been sitting here in the garage for a minute. We've got some things in the works or underway for it, but we're going to get into that in just a minute. But first I want to show you this first thing that you want to be aware of. This is actually where the charger is actually pulled in face forward here, but normally it is backed in. And right here where I back my car into the garage, I got a lot of soot that comes out of the tailpipe. So anything that was behind the car was covered in this black stuff. And I don't think that's actually normal. It actually comes off pretty easy. This black soot here, very, very heavy. I don't think, and that's just upon startup. So you want to be aware of that. And also this spatter here. I was getting a lot of moisture or spatter. I don't know what that is. I know normally sometimes you get some moisture buildup in your exhaust overnight or whatever after it's been sitting. But this would be almost on the regular here. I don't know exactly what that was. Looks something like more than just moisture in the tailpipe. And it would drip all over the garage. From front to back, so all the way back here as well, and into the driveway. So that was very, very heavy. So that's one of the things that you want to watch out for first. All right, so the next thing you want to be aware of is any type of jerking, stutter, or hesitation. You'll hear some guys on YouTube, I know Carl Orak and a couple of other guys that were experiencing what they call stutter, and then they mentioned that Rip said that do not chase the stutter, or if you chase the stutter, you're going to mess up your car or whatever. But I did notice some stuttering, or jerking, I would call it, or hesitation in the gear ratios. A lot of times when I back out of the driveway and turn out on this highway here to go, and as soon as I get out there, man, between third and fourth gear, it would jerk, almost like a violent stutter or hesitation. That's not normal. If you're getting that, stop driving your car, take it in to your nearest tuner or somebody who knows what they're doing and get that worked out. So if you're getting that, that's not good. And I know I rode off of that for a long time, and you got to think back when I had my supercharger installed, that was almost 4 years ago. And noticed only after maybe a couple of weeks of driving it, that stutter I was getting. Didn't know where it was coming from. I took the car back to the guys that installed the supercharger, and he put in, he thought a pedal box might work. He went back in and just kind of tried to play with the tune a little bit. Didn't drive any different. The pedal box didn't help for that. I then, after a while, another year or so, I took it back. Well, actually, I didn't take it back. I took it to another guy down in Fayetteville, and he claimed to be an expert on Mopar's tuning with HP, and of course I gave that guy $400, man, and it still didn't drive any better. So he claimed to have fixed it, but it didn't, and I just kept driving on it, and it wasn't until I got that tune about 8 months ago at Fastlane that it went away. And I figured by that time, man, the damage was already done, because you got to think about with that tune, it's very sensitive. It controls the way the internals of your engine perform. So those variables that they go in there and they adjust is very important. So we may think nothing of it, but it's very important. So obviously it wasn't good for the Charger, for the Super 6. So I think that's one of the things that contributed. The biggest thing that contributed to the demise of that cylinder was that jerking, that tune wasn't good, that bad tune. So you want to make sure that you are aware of that. So let's go into the next thing, which was any type of richness or leanness that you might be getting. If your car may be running too rich, I noticed mine was running a little rich, or any type of leanness is not good either. So you want to make sure that tune is tight, man. When you're running a boost application, is very important. Also, a bad tune can also lead to issues with O2 sensors. I know I had a couple of times I had an issue with O2 sensors. I kept getting the check engine light on, and it would read, O2 sensors, and I even did a video on replacing O2 sensors. So you can go back and look at that. That's actually a pretty good video, if I say so myself. So, but O2 sensors. I also had a fouled ignition coil. One of my coils fouled out a couple of years ago. Didn't know what that was about. So, like I said, I believe that's another warning sign that that's in the tune. The tune wasn't right. So, like again, it wasn't until I got, a good tune, and they tuned it up really good, and all that stuff went away. So, like I said, you want to make sure if you're getting some O2 sensor issues or foul coils, and that foul coil was the very cylinder that pretty much gave way. So you want to be aware of that as well. All right, and lastly, man, if you're getting some heavy black smoke, your car really shouldn't be smoking at all. Heavy. I noticed the day that my car actually took a dive there was a lot of black smoke behind me. I noticed even before that, every time I hit it, I would get a lot of black smoke, odor, and all of that. Not good. So make sure if you're getting heavy black smoke, soot, all that stuff, man, not good. So take it in, stop driving it, take it in, get that looked at and taken care of. Get your tune tightened up. And you should be good to go. All right. So let's go ahead, man, and talk about. You see a smile on my face. Let's go ahead and talk about the direction that we're finally going to take with the Super 6. So going back over all the options, and man, you guys gave some really good suggestions. I really took all that to heart. I took some time out and I really did some research and thought about some of the things that you guys said. I just decided to, when that happened this past summer, back in June, it might have been before June, I think it was around May, I just took the car back home and just let it sit in the garage. I really just wanted to take my time and really think about what I wanted to do, because I knew it was going to be a big step. So one of the first choices was to replace the motor just with a naturally aspirated 3.6, just get a brand new OEM motor, which would have been the least expensive way to go. I wasn't going to replace the supercharger back on. I was just going to just run it safely, 3.6 stock motor, maybe put my Spectra cold air intake back on and just run it that way. And that would have been a hard thing to do, because after being used to that boost for so long, you got to think, man, I drove this car for about 4 years. That would have been a hard thing to do, but it would have been safer. So that one, and the other option was to take the same engine that's in the car now and have fast lane, just forge the internals, do all the work around that, reapply the supercharger and have more boost and more power. And the internals would have been able to, the forged internals would allow the motor to be able to handle that boost. So that was the next step. And then the third step was to replace the replace the motor with a higher trim motor. And I really had to do some research. I went on a lot of car vlogs, and well, no, I can't think of the name of the car platforms, but went on there and looked at that, and like I said, a lot of that wasn't recommended because of all the stuff involved, all the cost and everything. So I was really thinking about the 5.7 motor, So the 5.7 really looked good in this situation because that way I can run it, naturally aspirate it, get it. I could get one brand new, run a cold air intake on it, run a naturally aspirated, that where I get the power, the sound, the whole nine, and it'll be a V8. So that was really looking good, and it really wasn't all that expensive. But so that was an option. And then so calling up Lucas finally one day, I was ready to move forward, sitting there talking with him about all the options. He said, well, you know, I do happen to have the internal, not the internals of, but the drivetrain of a 392 Scat Pack in the shop. He said I was going to use it for another project, but he said, you know, another option would be to put that in your car. And I thought about it, and I asked if I could get back with him. And he said, okay. He said, I just hold on to it for you because for me because he had some other guys that were asking him about it, and he said that he'd hold on to it for me. And after about a week or so, I went back and did some research and thought about it, talked with my wife about the cost of everything, and we agreed that it wouldn't be a bad way to go. So I called Lucas back up and talked with him, and I think that's what we're going to do. Well, I'm not think that's what we are going to do because it's already, the process is already on the way. So we're going to actually build a 392 out of the Super 6. So we're going to pretty much have a 392 Frankenstein Charger here. So I'm so excited, man. A 392 is actually pretty much what I've always wanted. I've always admired the 392. Great platform. So I'm really excited, man. And so they're going to do all the work around it. It's going to be the motor replaced. It's not a brand new motor. It has less than 20,000 miles on it. Transmission, drive shaft, ECU, wiring harness, everything that they're going to need to do for the Charger to run the V8. I think the rear diff, they said it wasn't actually necessary at the moment, but you know we'll test it and see. So they're going to replace all of that. One of the first steps in this process, like I said, was removing the wiring harness, and so I actually had to take the Charger back in, had to drive it. So before I drove it, I changed the oil in it, and I added some of this stuff here called no smoke. Once I changed the oil, this is really good. It's actually called engine honey too. Some people refer to it as engine honey. It's very, very thick. If you're having some issues with the car holding compression in one of your cylinders, this stuff works really good temporarily. So once I changed the oil, I added some of this to the engine, and it drove actually really good. I had hardly any smoke. Fast lane was about 23 miles from my house. Had my wife follow me. She said, you know, it wasn't smoking as bad, and it actually drove pretty good, and it felt really good being back in the car after about 2 months. So got the car there. Like I said, the first step was them to pull out the wiring harness, and that's why you guys see this cover over here, because while they were removing the wiring harness and working on the car, they had the window down, and then once they removed the wiring harness, well, of course, there's no power, so now the window was down. So that's why that's on the car. So once they removed the wiring harness, they called me back up. I had to come pick the car back up because them outsourcing the wiring harness and ECU programming, it's going to take a while. He said it could take anywhere between as much as 9 to 12 weeks. He said that guy does a lot of jobs for them and others. So we're at the mercy of, you know, what time he would be able to get done with everything. Once they get the wiring harness back, then I would take the car back. So I went and picked the car up from them while the wiring harness is being program because they can't store the car in the shop because of fire regulations, because they already got so many cars in there. So I didn't have an issue with bringing it back home. So I had the car towed back home, and it's been here ever since. And it's been about a month, so it's been pretty painful to walk in here and see it, and to anticipate what it's going to be like once we put the new motor in, the 392 motor in, and everything around it. As far as the brakes, I think the power stop brakes are going to do fine for now. We'll have to just test it and see. The rotors, so if anything needs to be updated because of the extra power, I don't know, then we'll do that. The rear diff, we may have to go up to a 309, I'm not sure, but we'll test it and see. So that's where we are right now. So right now the wiring harness is being programmed, and we're playing the waiting game. Like I said, it's been about 6 weeks so far. So hopefully soon I'll be getting a call that it's back in, and we're gonna go from there. Now, this process was not cheap. Okay, that's one thing that during the research that was very true. It's not cheap, and it depends on who does the work. And I think the average cost for a brand new 392 motor to be installed or swapped somewhere upwards of $25,000 or $30,000. So it depends on who does it for you. So I didn't pay that much, but it's up there. So but like I said, man, anytime you make a purchase like that on your car, it helped me to be open and transparent with my wife, man, because I was spending a lot of money, and I think I'm still coming out good because a brand new 392 Scat Pack would have costed me upwards of 45, 50 grand. So this way I get the best of both worlds. I get to keep the car I've already invested so much in, and still get the power of the 392. So and the motor. So I'm just going to once we get it, man, we're just going to run it naturally aspirated. I'm not trying to race or anything like that. I just want to drive the car as a daily, maybe get on it every now and then. But yeah, it's gonna be great, and I'm excited. Like I said, the process is already on the way, so don't try to talk me out of it. So I think it's gonna be good. These guys are really good at what they do. Like I said, they're doing all the work around it, so it's gonna be good. We're gonna see what it's gonna be like. So I think that was pretty much all. I had to make a little list here so I didn't forget anything. So like I said, they're going to do the motor, the transmission, the drive shaft, wiring harness, ECU and programming. But it's kind of bittersweet, man. I've had the Super 6, the boosted Super 6, man, for almost 4 or 5 years. So it's really been really great having it. It's been so different. No other V6 car was like this, and it was great running alongside V8s, with similar power, and I'm really gonna miss it. It was a huge investment, with the supercharger and everything, but on to new things now, and it's going to be very interesting to build it. Anybody can go out and buy a new car or buy a new 392, but it's going to be very interesting what this thing is going to do being built. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that means some stuff is going to come off of the car. Like I said, they're going to take the motor out, the V6 motor out. So that means the supercharger is coming off. The intercooler and everything, the whole kit is coming off. I can't say anything about if the fuel injectors are coming out. I'm not sure about that. The I've already gotten a different front grille. I was going to replace the front grille anyway, even before this happened. So I've already got a new front grille. It's already painted, and actually, I was going to install that after I got the new face on it. Somebody suggested on here on YouTube that I should go ahead and replace the face. Everything else was updated, so go ahead and replace the face. So I did. Got it painted, man. It was gonna put it on the car, and that same week is when that issue happened with the car. So it's been in the basement waiting. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on. But all the parts that are coming off the motor, the transmission, like I said, the supercharger, all of that's coming out. So if any of you guys are interested in that stuff, man, DM me on my Instagram, super6_charger. Let me know if you're interested in anything, and I'll be glad to pass that on to you for a good cost. I've also got a couple of pedal boxes, a roar pedal. I don't think I'm going to keep my pedal commander. A roar pedal, the iDrive pedal box. So I got 3 pedal boxes. I've got a Spectra cold air intake for the V6 charger, which was great. And I think a couple other things. But if you're interested in anything, just let me know and just DM me on my Instagram. So I think that's it, man. So that's the update on the charger. We're going with a built 392 swap. The process is already on the way. Like I said, we're getting the programming done right now, and it's gonna be great. I don't know what else to say. So gleaming with excitement, man. So I hope everybody is well, man. I'm gonna keep you guys updated on the process. I probably won't get to, once the car goes back in the shop, probably won't be able to get in and do a lot of filming because I'm actually working during the time that they're open. So if I can get in maybe one afternoon and update you guys on the process, I will. So that's gonna be great. So like I said, man, hope everybody's well. I gotta get out here and cut this grass, and then I will update you guys later, man. And you guys take care, and I'll get at you later. Peace. Hey, man, another thing I wanted to mention was when I was talking about the 3.6, the supercharged 3.6, there are some guys that are still having quite a bit of success with this build. I know Wolf, riding with Wolf, he's having some good success with his. I don't think he's mentioned to me that he's had any issues with it. I know J-Mac, I think J-Mac is still in the game. He's the one with the white Charger. J-Mac 95, I think he's running his. I think he's still having success with his as well. There's a host of other guys on YouTube and Instagram that are having some success with theirs. So like I said, it's still good platform, man. Just make sure your tune is intact and you shouldn't have any issues. All right, man, just want to throw that in there at the end. I'll get at you later.